Hello everybody, not Just Like here. Welcome back to another Pavlov Modkit tutorial. Today we will be talking about an economy and saving and loading player data. Let's go into logic and game logic. Now I have already made two functions which I will leave in the description of the video, so I'm going to go ahead and paste them. Save data and load data. In save data, you're going to want a player variable, which is a string, and you're also going to want an integer or boolean or whatever you want for the data to be saved. In this case, we will only have cash, which is an integer. What it will do is that it will convert this integer to a string. It will make an array out of it. We are making an array so that you can have more data, more data, more data. Then what it will do is it will save that string array to the server. And the file name will be in test map data, player data, and it will be the player name.txt. Cool. Compile and save. Load data. We're simply going to append the player name to this, which will give us the player name.string.txt. Then it will load the string array, then get. We are getting index 0 so that we can get our cache. If you want your second variable, you're going to get index 1. And then it will return that, and if it's successful, it will return successful. Compile and save. Now, let's go to our event graph, specifically in player info. Now here we have already done our get menu and all that, but we're going to go to begin play. From here, we're going to do a sequence. So let's break this. Let's do sequence. Let's drag that to that. And here, we're going to do first, going to get game logic. We're going to cast to our game logic. Give me just a second. Okay, we're going to cast to our game logic. From here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to load data. And the player name, what we can do is get player info. Well, actually, apologies. First, we get player state from the player info, and we'll keep target as self. From here, we're going to get player name, then we're going to drag that into player name. Let's go ahead and move this down a little bit. While we're at it, let's make a variable. Let's call it cache. Replication will be replicated, and it'll be an integer. Compile, save. And with that data, we're going to set the cache variable to cache. Compile and save. Even if this isn't successful, it will just set this to 0. If it's successful, I'll set it to whatever cache the player has. Now, let's exit out of that. I have updated my widget. Wrong widget. I have updated my widget. I now have cache, deduct, and increase. Let's go to graph. Let's go all the way to event on initialized. Complete it. We'll drag out this, and we will do. Actually, we can also name this. We'll just name this update everything. That sounds good. Then from here, we will. Where is it? Okay. We'll get owning player pawn. From there, we'll get player state. From there, we'll get player info. And finally, we'll cast to pi_primary, which I have two because I have two instances of my test map. Just use whichever one is yours. In this case, it doesn't really matter since I don't use this map besides tutorials, which I'll fix it after video. Alright, as player info, we're going to get cache, and then we're going to set my cache variable, which I think is, okay, hold on. There we go. Cache. We're going to set text, and what we're going to do is append string. We're going to do that as that, cache colon space. The integer to string will be the b variable, then this to text. Although I'm sure you could format text itself, I'll be doing it this way. Okay, not the cleanest, but it's okay. File, save. And let's also change this to every 5 seconds. Now, let's click our deduct button. On pressed, what we're going to do is let's go back all the way up here. Let's copy paste this. Let's paste it. From here, we're going to cast to pi underscore primary. And as pi underscore primary, what we're going to do is we are going to set cache. We're also going to get cache. The reason we're going to set and get is because with the get cache, we're going to subtract. We're going to subtract 1. Then we'll set it to whatever. So what it does is it'll take their cache, then it'll deduct 1, then it'll set it to what has been deducted 1. So if they have 10, you'll get 10, then you'll deduct 1, so 9, then it'll set it to 9. File, save. Now, we pretty much do the same exact thing for increase, but instead we're going to add instead of subtracting. Okay, that's done. Now, we could leave it as is, and that would work perfectly fine. However, if you want your cache to update pretty frequently, let's go into our player info. Instead of just doing it on event begin play, we should probably make a timer. Or, well, this is optional, but you can also set a timer so that it will update their player info. Well, there's multiple ways to do this. I'm actually not going to do it that way. What you could do is every time that their data is saved, you will automatically redo this with either a timer or calling functions. Or what you could do is instead you can update this, and then once they leave the server, then you could save that data, which I think that's what I'm going to do. So in Game Logic Primary, we're also going to do something I completely forgot. On player join server, on player left server, event on player left server. We're going to break the player status. Then we're going to get player info. Get player info. I'm going to cast to our player info. Then we're going to get cache. Then we're going to save data. There we go. There we go. Again, not the cleanest code, but it's alright. There we go. Just remember, you will have to update the player info cache, which keep in mind, every time that a player respawns, usually their player info resets. So this isn't the safest method, but it'll work for now. Thank you for watching. That is all.